Greetings, podcast pals. This is Dan, and I am here to let you know that we'll be back with a brand new season next Monday on the 21st of October. But before that, it's time for our bonus show. Now, this time we talk about Megalopolis, which we did release over on our Patreon feed last week. On that note, we do have a £3 a month tier, and on that you'll get access to all of our end of season wrap shows and a minimum of 2 reviews of brand new movies every month, probably averaging more like 4 or 5. And in terms of time, I think it's usually between an hour and an hour and a half of additional content every month. So you get all of that for £3 a month. And we also have a £5 a month tier now as well. If you are the sort of person that hates listening to these flabby intros / Patreon adverts, then maybe that's the place for you. For £5 a month, you can get everything in the £3 a month tier, plus get access to the main feed episodes a week earlier than everyone else. No intros, no intro music. You just get straight into it. And if you're at all interested in what we've got coming up in season 8, what Sarah has programmed in, then if you become a free member on Patreon, you can see our season lineups, which has been announced over there. If you become a free member, you'll be able to see everything that's programmed in for season 8. We don't show those lineups anywhere else. It's not on our social medias or anything like that, or any podcast descriptions. So that is the only place that you'll be able to see what films we're covering, to be able to stay up to date and watch, stay in sync with us and watch what we're watching. If you are a new listener, thank you very much, firstly, for stopping by. We do hope that you stick around, and if you do enjoy what you hear, maybe you would consider subscribing to the feed so you don't ever miss a show. Whether you're a regular or new listener who enjoys the show, we'd be really happy to get some more reviews, whether that's on Apple or Podcast Addict, Podbean. Good Pods is another one, isn't it? Wherever you listen, Spotify, I think you can do comments and stuff on there. Any sort of interaction or reviews or 5 stars you could do to sort us out, that would be much appreciated. If you've done all of that, or if you haven't done any of that and you want to help out another way, please tell someone about the show. If you've got a friend who perhaps is a huge fan of Dreamscape, you could point them in the direction of our episode on that and await their thanks. And of course, mentioned it earlier, but social media, come and follow us anywhere that you can. STH_pod. We're on most of the platforms, and that is just about it from me. I'm going to stop banging on now. Just want to say thank you to everyone who listens, all the patrons. You're all greatly appreciated, and we're really happy with how the show is going, and we hope that you will stick around. Now it's over to Sarah and me for our thoughts on Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis. So, Sarah.
Dan.
I have seen 2 Francis Ford Coppola movies at the cinema.
Oh, no.
The first one was Francis Ford Coppola's Jack.
Yep.
And the second one...
But the second one couldn't possibly be worse than that, then.
No. It can't be worse than
It couldn't
Jack,
possibly
can it?
be.
Honestly, like, we could talk about Megalopolis today, obviously. You see it in the title, you're hearing it here. It can't be worse than Jack.
It couldn't be.
This is a vision. Francis Ford Coppola has spent about 40 years trying to make this movie.
And 100 million.
120 million, I think the budget was. He sold part of his winery to help finance the movie.
Is it too late to get it back?
I don't think so. And do you know what? I'm glad. Because...
He doesn't deserve a vineyard.
He doesn't deserve a vineyard. This movie was insanely terrible. I don't... There are some people that are defending it, and I just don't know why. Just people online. Like, you've got the hang on, I just need to check if it's still recording. Yeah. I was having a panic there.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got the people that are a bit snobby, like, oh, you just don't get it. Like...
No. Oh, if you didn't like it, you didn't get it.
Yeah,
no, I got it. It was
that,
shit.
There's that sentiment, I think. So I think there's a few people trying to defend it.
I think some people just enjoy being contrarians as well.
There's that too. And also, like, who are we to say what you can and can't enjoy? I just think that this movie was objectively a piece of shit. Like,
All we're saying is, if you did like this, you're wrong.
No, of course, I would never say that. Like, if you enjoyed it, and
I wouldn't
honestly,
say you're wrong, but you're not invited to my house. You
yeah,
can't
well,
come in.
exactly. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
There are parts of this movie that I did enjoy.
Are there?
Yes, but for the entirely wrong reasons.
Right, okay.
Like, just some of the absurd things that are happening, I'm just scratching my head going, what the fuck? What's in this wine?
I assume we're going to go full tilt spoiler.
Fuck 'em, we're going to spoil it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Coppola spoiled it.
I think he ruined it, yeah. Yeah, so 40 years. It's taken him 40 years to write this movie. And it came out like this. Like, this feels like someone just, like, there's a lot of craft in it, and it's creative, I guess. I'll get the compliments out of the way. Like, it's a weird film, and if that's a compliment, like, it's unusual, and it's not really like anything else I've ever seen.
Thank God.
But yeah, right? So there are some bits of creativity in it, but, like, I think the script, if there was one, feels like it was written on the back of a fag packet in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Whilst taking hallucinogens.
It's awful. I wonder how much of this movie was cut out. Like, and if it was cut out, why was it cut out? Because, you know...
Well, this is over 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It felt like 4 days, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I couldn't believe how bad this was. You know, I had a feeling it was going to be bad, but the trailer did not sell me. No,
the trailer, I could take or leave. And then I started hearing reports from Cannes and...
15-year standing ovation. The biggest ever at Cannes. There's 4 of them a year. They
always report that, but every film gets a standing ovation.
I know.
All of them.
You see Kevin Costner stand up for 12 minutes just nodding, go, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to make more of these. Yeah. No,
oh, God.
No, you're not.
But I don't know. I always try to approach things with an open mind.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult not to be influenced by the prevailing opinion when it's so overwhelming.
When it's the creator of Jack. And Apocalypse Now.
Honestly. Like, people refer to Francis Ford Coppola as a genius because he directed things like The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. But I am forever going to refer to him as notorious paedophile apologist and director of Jack and Megalopolis.
Allegedly.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly.
Okay.
The guy went to prison for it, and Francis Ford Coppola continued to defend him and bankroll his projects and bully the child victim.
Yeah.
It's not alleged. He's a piece of shit.
Facts that you've read online that are definitely backed up by...
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I've said it now,
Sue
allegedly.
me.
So you can't sue us. So let's just cover our asses. But yeah, he seems like a piece of shit.
He does.
And you're watching it and you think, look at this cast. Shia LaBeouf. Piece of shit. Oh, is that Dustin Hoffman? I haven't seen him for a while. Yeah, no, do you know what? He's a piece of shit. But John Voight's in it. Wrong again. Piece of shit.
John Voight looked like he'd wandered out of the nearest home on day release.
What? That must have been intentionally funny, his performance.
Do you think?
It must have been.
I don't know what anybody's direction possibly could have been.
I think there was a lot of improvising on this.
Oh,
that
movie was a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't think Shia LaBeouf could get more insufferable, and yet there we were.
Somehow we hate him even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I will never, ever be able to rid my brain of the image of him having some sort of coitus with Aubrey Plaza whilst calling her Auntie Wow.
I know.
Just saying that pained me.
I think I maybe fancy Aubrey Plaza a little bit less now.
Same. I have a lot less respect for her now. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
Oh, no. Oh, you're in that movie.
The stink of Megalopolis is going to linger.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
I don't even know where I would begin to describe what happens in this movie. Because
there's barely a story.
For a start, this movie is asking a lot of its audience. It's going, Adam Driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is Rome or something, but what if Rome didn't Rome died? in our reality, like Rome finished, didn't it? Yeah.
This is
but
new Rome.
What Francis Ford Coppola presupposes is, what if it didn't? And then you've got like the Adam Driver who wants to build a city in whatever fucking way he wants to build it, and then the mayor Giancarlo Esposito who wants to build a city in whatever fucking way he wants to build it. And I don't really get what they're butting heads about. And maybe someone killed their wife. I don't know.
And Giancarlo Esposito's daughter is some sort of
Natalie Emmanuel,
medical student dropout turned druggy socialite.
Oh, I didn't pick up that she was a medical student dropout.
Oh, that was in the dialogue.
Oh, okay. I must have already closed my ears by that point. I gathered that she was some kind of socialite, newspaper, people going, well, we love you, Natalie Emmanuel. I loved your work in Fast and Furious.
And Hollyoaks.
Oh, was she in Hollyoaks?
Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah.
I think she's from Southend, actually, where I'm from. What were we saying? What were we got to say about this movie? Yeah, I was saying that I think it's asking a lot of its audience, right? Because the one hand you get introduced to Adam Driver, and he's doing this fucking Shakespeare stuff, which is insufferable,
awful.
It's just so fucking pompous, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it feels like when he was writing this or he's editing it, Coppola's just having a big old fucking wank, and you can just almost see it, and it's horrible. But again, it's asking a lot of it. So it's this movie. Adam Driver's invented a magic particle, right?
Some sort of
something,
some sort of substance that's super sustainable and magic. Also,
it's the do anything liquid.
Yeah,
it's
the MacGuffin brick.
But there's always a MacGuffin in these types of movies. That's fine. And the trick is you're not really paying that much attention to what that thing is doing.
Because
and how
the movie
insane it is.
Boring as hell.
Yeah, but in this one, you're like, okay, so he's invented this material. Where'd it come from?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Shut up. Maybe we'll say something later, but it doesn't really make any sense.
How does it work? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. What can it do? Well, anything you can think of, really.
Yeah.
Can it make you stop time? I don't know. Maybe you could stop time anyway. That's never explained, is it? I was like, maybe it can be a building material.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
How does that work?
What, like,
don't know.
Like cement? Like what's the ratio here? Like, what are we pouring it into the concrete? Is it part of are you like planting trees with it, and then are you using the timber or whatever?
Yes.
Yes, it's all of those things. What else can we do? Oh, we can see memories in it.
Apparently, yep. We can revisit dead spouses.
Yeah, of course. And if you have your head blown off by a gun, it makes your head grow back. Did I black out for a bit? Oh, you went to the toilet. Right. You went to try and get our second glass of wine.
I went to the bar.
Yeah, that's right. Because we were like, oh, there's like 45 minutes left. We need another.
I can't tolerate this sober.
Yeah. And do you know what? When I went out to the toilet earlier on, I just sat in the lobby for 5 minutes. Went on my phone. I was like, I need a break from this. Yeah. But getting back to the magic substance.
Yeah, of course.
It can also make magic moving bridges.
Yeah.
It can make... I don't know. It feels like one of those inventions that is surplus to requirements because we have those already in airports. It's not that exciting, is it? It's just got neon lights on it. And maybe your mum's proud of you when she gets on it.
It sort of feels like Francis Ford Coppola's taking credit for VR in a way. Do you not think?
How do you explain?
Well, because people shut their eyes and see what they want. And
yeah.
It's magic. And never explained.
Okay. So are you talking about in the workshop when they're coming up with ideas?
Yeah.
I thought you was talking about the end of the movie when he's made all of his wavy buildings.
Oh, I had fully checked out by that point.
That was curious to me, that scene where he's in his workshop and he's just sort of, doing that thing with his hands and going, scratching his chin, going, oh, yeah, so I'm very clever, actually, aren't I?
Some might say a genius.
And you know that's Coppola just talking about himself, right?
Oh, yeah.
At least that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And he's just like, why don't you stand on their head? And I'm thinking, why? Can't you just build little models or something? Like, do computers exist in this reality? I don't think they do. Again, like all things that are not necessarily a problem, but a fact that I'm thinking about them is a problem because the film is so fucking boring and it doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, and that material can also make
clothing,
see-through clothing.
Yep.
For
worn by
purposes.
a former winner of America's Got Talent
What, in real life?
during a sequence where you left to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And there was a whole to-do about her being a virgin and people betting on her, and then,
Yeah.
oh, she's not a virgin. And I don't really understand what happened.
Right, so there was a video of Caesar Catalina, I think his name is,
Oh, God.
which is an anagram of Francis Ford Coppola, by the way.
Are you fucking kidding
Apparently.
me?
I haven't checked it, but I did hear this.
It can't be because there's no F.
Okay, yeah, that's not right then. Maybe his middle name's like Fred or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that video had Caesar having sex with this apparently underage young woman.
But it turned out she was like 23 or
turned
something.
out she was, in her 20s or whatever. And it turns out that it wasn't Adam Driver, it was Shia LaBeouf.
But
and
why? And who?
They deepfaked it to so that Shia LaBeouf could take advantage of the unpopularity of Caesar so that he could be the king of
I
the
feel
world.
like I'm having a breakdown even trying to recall this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like Charlie in that episode of It's Always Sunny trying to find out who Pepe Silvia is.
It all feels very disconnected. It all feels like it was just shot on a whim. That's what's so curious to me, is that it took so long to get made, but it feels like that someone else had they're like making a film about similar, and a studio just goes, oh well, let's make this as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Like a Deep Impact, Armageddon situation, whatever. But both of those movies way better than Megalopolis, by the way. And I'm just so confused by this movie.
Yeah.
Like, who? I guess the answer is it would never have gotten made had it not been for the
sale of his vineyard
well,
and the
yes.
self-funding.
But like the studios all passed on it, right? They were like, no, this is
Yeah, no
you can't make
shit.
this. It's insane. And they're not
this
always.
is unfilmable, Francis. What are you taking?
I'm baffled. Like, who is no one going? Does Frank?
I mean, he's what, 80 at this point?
Yeah. And people are just like, oh, you made The Godfather. It's the best movie of all time.
Like, genuine question, has he had a brain scan recently? If not, maybe get that man to an MRI machine, because this is not the film of a sane person. This is not somebody who's playing with a full deck.
Yeah, in the worst possible way as well. It's not like there's, I say again, there's some interesting ideas, and I can see that there's some things that he was going for in it. I just feel like it was wildly misguided.
But
it just didn't make any sense. Like I'm
going to be less charitable than you, because
I'm not being charitable. It's just
it feels like you're trying to sort of give him a bit of leeway.
No, it's just that a couple of the ideas, like if you equate it to the Republican and Democrat movement in America, and someone perhaps trying to disrupt both of those sides as much as they can, I don't know. There are some parallels there, and literally that is all I'm thinking. Like, that's an interesting idea, but everything around it is total dog shit. I don't think I'm being charitable.
I think to me, sort of stylistically, it somehow looks like no money was spent on it.
Yeah.
It looks tremendously awful.
There's some horrible green screen.
Awful stuff. But it also kind of looks like it's borrowed all of the worst parts from like Wes Anderson and Baz Luhrmann and who did I say the other day?
James Cameron?
No, not James Cameron. It just seems like he's borrowed all the worst bits from actual visionary filmmakers.
Yeah.
And they're not cohesive. It hasn't made like a lick of sense. It doesn't look good visually. It's an ugly movie, I think. I think it's a really, really ugly looking film.
I didn't have a good time looking at it.
No. I think it feels like large swathes of it were just chopped out wholesale.
Yeah.
Making it make little to no sense. Some of the character motivations were glaringly obvious, but also nonsensical somehow.
Mm.
Aubrey Plaza's character kind of springs to mind.
Just a cartoon, wasn't she?
Yeah, it's just like, what do you want? Power. All right, then, go off and do your thing.
Yeah.
Be a bit slutty with
Yeah.
a dumb name.
Yeah. Yeah, it was baffling to watch this. I was mostly confused, and it ended. When it ended, I was sort of still just as confused, really.
I was dazed.
It's like, it does feel like there was a load of stuff cut out of this.
Yeah.
But maybe it wasn't. Like, I don't know, because it was his baby. Maybe he had to trim some out. I don't know. But what he was left with was something that just doesn't make any sense. And maybe things don't always have to make sense. But this is just like another level. And there was definitely some stuff cut out, because I do know about a part in the movie which I think I said to you about.
Oh, like a.
I think
Yeah.
Caesar at some point addresses the camera and sort of looks straight into the camera, fourth wall break situation, and says, "Has anyone got a question for me?" And someone from the audience in the cinema would stand up and ask him a question. I think that's how it went.
How do you pull off something like that?
But they were a plant, and I think the agreement was for each cinema to have someone.
Yeah.
How
do you facilitate that? The cost would skyrocket.
Well, I mean, you just say, look, Trevor, who does popcorn, you can not do popcorn for 5 minutes, and go and ask him this question. But they didn't bother with it in our cinema.
No.
And I'm glad that they didn't, because I was dreading that a little bit. Because I was half expecting the question to come up, for the lights to come on. And I was thinking, oh God, this is going to be so cringy.
What's worse than one of the worst films we've seen all year is that film plus audience participation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is my idea of a nightmare.
Yeah. And just what a bizarre idea. And so that was definitely cut out. So, and I'm sure there was other stuff.
Was all of the storyline also shot?
I think so, yeah.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I want to believe there's a cut of this somewhere that makes sense, but I just don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true. I thoroughly dislike this. I think it's a total horseshit, in case you hadn't guessed.
I feel bad for all of the other people who worked on this that aren't Francis Ford Coppola or
Agreed.
Miscellaneous pieces of shit.
Yeah, look, there's many people that make a film.
Yeah.
that are on the crew. And, you know, everyone, for the most part, tries their hardest, or you wouldn't survive very long on the crew. And, you know, I suppose as well, there are some actors like, oh, Francis Ford Coppola's making a movie.
Yeah.
Could be his last one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should be in this. So I don't lay the blame entirely on cast and crew. All of the blame lays entirely with Francis Ford Coppola. But also, like, Adam Driver, really...
I am side-eyeing him because he's been in some really high-profile stuff. He is a genuinely talented actor, but even though he can ham it up a tree.
What was that movie, that Ridley Scott movie with the Italian...
oh, God, House of Gucci.
House of Gucci, right.
Yeah, that was a misfire.
So did Ferrari, which people tell me is brilliant, but I was very bored by it.
Also bad accent.
Yeah. And I don't know. I get the feeling that maybe he's starting to love the smell of his own farts or something.
Right,
I don't know. Could be way off base there. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, whatever. I don't know, unless he's a piece of shit.
I hate that we have to qualify every compliment with that these days.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was something about the character who is just such a like pompous, obnoxious, like, I'm right about everything and you will need to shut up. It's like, is that really healthy? Like, is that the message of the movie? Get to the end, it's like, no, you shut up and just let this megalomaniac do whatever he wants. Oh, fucking people are displaced and homeless. Yeah, fuck them, don't worry. It's all in the best interest of the future. Who cares? You know? So, what? You know, you walk to the shops, a few ants die. So what? It was like that mentality.
Yeah.
And that was really fucking annoying. That was just like, okay, right.
And it also just felt a bit overstuffed as well, because we haven't even mentioned like Larry Fishburne as the omniscient narrator.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point other than to date the film and make it feel like it came out in the 90s?
It's to make you think of better movies like The Matrix.
The Wachowskis, that's who I was thinking of.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Yeah, it did feel Wachowski-esque, actually.
But like drawn from all of the worst parts of the Wachowski projects, like Jupiter Ascending, for example.
I haven't seen that. Is Jupiter Ascending better than Megalopolis?
Yes. Which is
that's wild.
Quite a statement.
Yeah. Larry Fishburne doesn't do that much really in this. It's just a bit of a presence. It does the voiceover. I suppose you would argue that he has quite an important role, but it didn't feel very important. He's just really commenting on what's going on. And also, like, again, made me think of The Matrix. Oh, I wish I was watching The Matrix. And also, it made me think of a very vastly superior Francis Ford Coppola movie,
Jack.
Apocalypse Now.
Oh.
Jack probably is better than this. I've only seen it once. But I tell you, if someone put Jack and Megalopolis in front of me, I'm going Jack every time.
I know what I'm choosing.
Every time. At least that's got Robin Williams in it.
Yeah. Who was not a piece of shit. I can say that quite confidently.
Yeah. Seemed like a nice bloke.
Yeah.
Who else is in this? Who have we missed? John Voight. We've done him, haven't we? I don't.
At least you've got the forever memory of John Voight with a tiny crossbow,
dressed as Robin Hood, and he's got a cover over him. And I remember, I think I nudged you at a point and went, "Has he got a lob on? Has he got a boner?" And he made that joke.
Yeah.
He's like, "Come and touch my hard thing" or whatever, and he peels off the cover, and he shoots with a tiny bow and arrow, as you say. He shoots
some terrible CGI at Aubrey Plaza.
Wow Pizzazz or whatever her name
Wow
is.
Platinum.
Wow. He fires an arrow at her. He shoots Shia LaBeouf in the arse, which we all can relate to and would love to do. And then says, "I'm just going to give all my money to Adam Driver because he's the best." And shut up. And he's got everyone's best interest at heart. And I'm a generous guy, and I'm the best now as well. And my name is Francis Ford Coppola.
And then it just ended, and it was just like, oh, they've got a baby, and they're on a magic bridge or something. And
yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Because they
it seemed to happen all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's almost like the first half, almost nothing happens, but you're just fed this wild information. Like, oh, I'm sure this will make sense later.
Nope.
No, it doesn't. But then it gets to the last 20 minutes and he gets his face shot off. He grows his face back. They have a baby. Giancarlo Esposito says, "Look, I tried to fit you up for your dead wife. I tried to charge you with murder and frame you for it. Oh, but you're having a baby with my daughter. Why don't we shake hands, actually? We're best mates now. And let's just all agree that we're all the best. And we all really have got the best interest at heart." And it was an awful message, like if there was a message. And I think it was shut up and just let's make shit and just I don't know. I'm reaching trying to find a message here, but I just
the message is
it feels
don't sell the vineyard.
Don't.
That's the messaging here.
The message is don't be in a Francis Ford Coppola movie and stop making movies at this point. I'll say just enjoy. You made a couple of game-changing pieces of entertainment.
Some questionable decisions in your personal life.
Majorly questionable stuff that I didn't know about until recently. So I'm glad that you did that research for us. I am not interested in anything else this guy is going to do. I'm not a big fan of Godfather. Like, people hate me for saying that sometimes, but I watched them.
Well, it's personal preference, isn't it?
It is personal.
It's a good film. It's a very well-made film, but would I choose to watch it 9 times out of 10?
No.
Probably not.
And I don't think you'll ever hear us cover The Godfather on the podcast.
I'd be surprised.
Because I didn't see it I watched it in 2020. That was the first time I ever saw it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went into my 30s when I watched The Godfather. And then I watched it. It was like, it's just a bit boring, this. But everyone loves Godfather 2. Everyone's like, The Godfather 2 is the best film of all time. So I was like, rubbing my hands like, let's put it on. Oh, okay. It's long, isn't it?
Oh my God.
And I was thoroughly bored by it.
Wow.
And I didn't care for him. So my point is that I'm not particularly a huge fan of Coppola's work outside of Apocalypse Now, which I think is a genuine masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not alone in saying that. But you wonder who... And that was a long time ago now. He's had 50 years of people telling him that he's, you've got the best brain on the planet. So there's a certain amount of ego.
Mm-hmm.
This happens a lot. People just stop hearing no from people and they start to believe their own hype.
Oh, somebody should have said no to this.
Well, they did. Lots of people said no, but he refused.
People close to him should have said no.
Yeah. Like, who's the guy that's in all the Wes Anderson, Schwartzman?
Oh, God. Jason, yeah.
Oh, God, he was horrible in this.
Well, he's a Coppola, isn't he?
Well, yeah. Yeah. What did you say about Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I know why he changed his name now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that association either. Makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, even just like small performances like that, it was so obnoxious.
Do you know what it felt like to me? Even
a lobotomy,
I wish.
a mouldy apple.
I also wish I would have rather eaten a mouldy apple and dealt with the after effects. No, it sort of reminded me of things like Tromeo and Juliet.
Okay, I've not seen it.
It sounds like a really odd thing to say,
Is
but
that a
just it is Troma.
Mm.
This feels like a 120 million budget Troma movie,
Right.
but without all of the transgressive stuff.
Yeah, like tongue in cheek kind of. Humor,
Yeah,
like
none
a
of
little
it is
bit of a nudge.
subversive.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing, I've learned.
Mm.
Absolutely not a good thing. And just to provide a little bit of context to our entire review, there were 18 people in our screening.
Oh, I forgot all about this.
By the halfway point, 6 of them had left. A third of the audience walked out.
I've never seen that before.
I can't remember the last time I saw a walkout ever.
The only time I've ever walked out was during Dude, Where's My Car?
You lasted through Megalopolis, but not Dude, Where's My Car?
Honestly, if we didn't have this podcast, I probably would have walked out. Honestly, like I probably would have seen the reviews and gone, not going to bother with that.
Yeah.
But had I gone to see it and we'd paid money for it, and it was like, well, it's a Friday night, we could be in the pub, I would have probably left after half an hour.
I could be
I'd say.
Sleeping right now. That would be preferable.
What was impressive is that, like, it took a while. Like, I would say it was about 45 minutes before the first couple left.
Yeah.
And then maybe 15 minutes after that, another couple left. And then it was like an hour and a half, and a cloud turned into a hand. And there was one bloke who was like, no, I've had enough. It's not making any sense to me anymore. Did it ever, is my question. But it was every time someone stood up and started shuffling, we sort of looked at each other, like mouths agape, like, oh my God, we haven't seen this before.
And that became more entertaining than the movie.
Yeah. It was the only time I had a big smile on my face.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want people to enjoy the films, but in a weird way, I was like, it was vindicating for me because I was like, oh, okay, it's not that I'm not getting it. It's just that this is a weird fucking movie. It doesn't make any sense. And these people agree with me. Or there was a sale on popcorn or something at the bar. I don't know. Yeah, walkouts, man. It's the most that I've seen in a while. It's the most that I've seen since my friend and I went to see All Night Mystery movie marathon at the Prince Charles. And the final film of the night was Batman 66. Like half the screen. We got up and walked out. I was like, oh my God. Bit disappointing.
But the shark repellent.
But Batman 66, better than Megalopolis.
Yeah.
I'd much rather watch that than this again.
Mm-hmm. I would rather watch The Room back to back 5 times in a row than ever sit through Megalopolis again.
Yeah.
Megastopolis.
Make it Stopolis.
Megastopolis.
Make it Stopolis. Yes. I mean, I said what I thought was good about it, which was very little. Was that one little nugget of an idea? None of the other stuff made sense and wasn't paid off at all. It felt oddly lazy for a film. Again, I say again, that took so long to make. Could we not have done better here? There's a character in it, Dustin Hoffman. It just disappears for a bit, and then. By the way, the time period in this movie, who fucking knows?
Never clear, yeah.
But at some point, he just disappears, and they're like, "Oh, what happened to Dustin Hoffman?" It's like, "Oh, column fell on him."
I wish you were joking.
But that was probably the funniest part, actually.
Yeah.
Was, oh no, a column. Oh no, there's a green screen falling on me. Weird casting, man, and just it was so pompous.
Yeah,
it was so up its own arse, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was so, and it was like these old white men that you don't want to see it really. I mean, I don't care about John Voight or Dustin Hoffman at all. Last good movie Dustin Hoffman in was probably Outbreak.
30 years ago.
Which also has Kevin Spacey in it.
Oh no.
God, we can't talk about anything. But
just stop being creeps.
It's like you've all done very well in your respective fields as actors, like whether you like their work or not, they've all done very well out of it. Why don't you just go and enjoy that?
Just fuck off quietly.
Just do us a favour. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Leave us.
We don't want to have to look at you anymore.
Let's watch another Coralie Fargeat movie.
Yeah.
And let's just put a nail in all of these people.
In whatever the fuck this was. let's just say that's it. No more.
Let's put a button on it or whatever the phrase is. Yeah.
I will never watch this again.
I'm so glad that we are almost done with talking about this because honestly, I don't ever want to think about this again. and maybe there's a reality where this does turn up actually as a pick for something.
No. No. That's the day I quit the podcast.
Okay,
I'll rage quit.
But my point being is that I would probably rather watch and talk about this again rather than The Godfather.
Wow.
I don't think I have that much to say about The Godfather, whereas this is quite fun to piss all over Megalopolis, isn't it? I wish I can't really do that with The Godfather because it's the best movie ever made. But oh god, it's shocking, isn't it?
0 stars.
Like, how do you get it so wrong? How? Worst movie of the year so far?
Yeah, and we've seen Borderlands.
Yeah. And The Beekeeper.
I would much rather have been watching The Beekeeper.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I didn't enjoy that very much. Oh, it was fine. But yeah, I'd definitely be rather be watching anything else, I think.
Would Jason Statham have made Megalopolis better or worse?
Oh, you can't make it any worse, can you? Is he replacing someone or is he a new?
He's just
entirely new
another
character?
addition because it's so overstuffed with characters already. What's one more?
Is he as himself, Jason Statham?
Yeah.
Or is he as Jason Statham?
Yeah.
Actor Jason Statham?
Yes.
So he's like a star. And he's like, yes, Caesar Catalina is a close personal friend of mine, and he is in fact the best.
Yeah, I do also think he's a genius.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not.
But more Cockney, you know.
Yeah, in that Jason Statham voice.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be something, wouldn't it? Even Jason Statham didn't want to be in this movie.
And he was in the Meg too.
Oh Lord. I mean, is there anything else to say about this, or are we done? I'm pretty tired. To be honest. Is that your final thoughts?
Yeah, that's my review.
I'm going to do this.
We're in our 40s. But Megalopolis, I can't even say it anymore. Megalopolis made us crazy.
There's more art and creativity in an armpit fart than there is in Megalopolis. Oh, I've run out of arm farts. Are we done? Should we?
Yeah,
Should
please.
we switch off the mics and never think about this again?
Yeah.
All right.